Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. What does the average Abdullah do when he wants to progress in the Deen and Dunya? You know, he wants to start getting closer to his Deen. He wants to start progressing in it. He wants to start progressing in his Dunya. He wants to become a better person. But how does his day go? You know, he has all these aspirations. You know, he says he's going to read all this Quraan and he's going to do X and X and X the discipline and work all this stuff and get these grades. Next day comes, he wakes up. Maybe some of the days he goes okay, but he misses most of his tasks. He gets to his desk, he tries to work, and then he scrolls social media for hours and hours a day. And then what? He gets horrible grades. But ultimately, he keeps talking about this desire to do this Deen and Dunya stuff. But the empire of Shaitan grabs him. Shaitan tempts him. He does his haram habits again and again and again. And he's stuck in the cycle of just not getting past this hard stage of the beginning of progressing in Deen and Dunya. Or even if he doesn't have these high leverage tasks that the Sultan does. What does the Sultan have? The best version of Abdullah. And the Sultan, he uses these 5 highest leverage habits that 10x his Deen and Dunya. He's able to ensure that his deen gets done correctly, that it is his priority. He doesn't miss it out all the time. He doesn't waste all his time on social media. He doesn't keep getting tempted by the same haram habits. He uses these 5 things to ensure that his deen, dunya, and akhirah is on the path to gaining ultimate success. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Sultan. I make videos for young men on their journey to help them unlock the Sultan inside of themselves so that they can gain ultimate success in deen, dunya, and the akhirah, inshallah. Now, over the course of the next about 10 to 30 minutes, I'm going to be sharing with you the 5 highest leverage habits that help me go from the average Abdullah into unlocking that part of the Sultan inside of myself, change the trajectory of my Deen and Dunya, and 10x it. Started its exponential change right around about January 2025, where, you know, I was progressing in Deen and Dunya, but I was still messing up, just like you do. You know, we're all average Abdullahs, but we can be that better version of ourselves. We can become that Sultan, and I'm going to give you that complete step-by-step here. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. But just before we get there, if you are interested in 10xing your Deen and Dunya in just 30 days, you can go down in the link in the description and you get the free course where you can watch a video every single day and you can learn all the secrets and hacks that got me to unlock the Sultan inside of myself and go from the average Abdullah to 10xing my Deen and Dunya. I want that for you, so it's completely free. You can get it in course or YouTube playlist format. Down in the description. Jazakallah khair. Let's get into the video. The first highest leverage habit is daily Qur'an. Honestly, there is nothing more beneficial in Islamic self-improvement other than the, fara'id of Islam that will benefit your deen, your dunya, your akhirah, your spirit, and physically benefit you. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I find when I'm not consistent in reading the Qur'an, I'm 50% less happy. I want you to understand a thing that I even forget a lot of the time, and I think a lot of us, we get stuck in dunya. But if your deen isn't right, your life isn't right. If your connection with Allah Azza wa Jal is bad, your life is bad. Because frankly, that's just how it works, right? Honestly, I find that when I get closer to Allah, of course, life will get better. Not in terms of circumstances, but the way I deal with it. The internal peace I feel with myself, because it's my purpose. I mean, like, I was created to worship Allah Azza wa Jal. So when you're connected to that purpose, you feel better. It is the biggest rope to Allah Azza wa Jal other than, the salah, because it's His revelation. It's His actual words. Like, imagine, like, we don't think about the concept that we actually recite the words of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah, the Creator. That's crazy. Like, I don't think we take heed of that. That's why I say recite and take heed from. Taking heed meaning reading it in a language that we understand, or inshallah, you already understand Arabic. So, the protocol to making this habit stick is to make a commitment to not go a day without reading or reciting the Quran, even if it was 1 ayat. We all know at least 1 ayat of Quran in our minds, right? Or we know a way to read it in English in some sort of way. At least for me, when it comes to weekends, that's what used to destroy me. And I found that 1 day on the weekend, or 2 days on the weekend, as much as I was, having fun, as I've spoken about in my other videos, halal fun, when I don't have that even one ayat of Quran, or 1 page of the Quran, it completely dwindles my day, completely dwindles my connection with Allah. And on Monday, I just don't feel the same as I did on Friday when I left. So I don't want that for you either. So what I've implemented in my life, on weekends at least, is making that commitment, even if it was 1 ayat. Like, I wake up from Fajr and I just literally open the Quran and read, even if it was 1 or 2 or 3 ayats, and I close it. Like, at least, because it's the purpose of our life, man. I mean, if you aren't at least reading 1 ayat of Quran, you were created to worship Allah Azza wa Jal. Why are we not like this? Why don't we have this mindset? So we got to change it. We got to be the type of people who do not allow a day to go by where you don't at least try and fulfill your purpose at least once a day. Like, of course, we do the fara'id and the salah and stuff like that. But, like, the Quran is that rope. It's that connection. It's the words of Allah Azza wa Jal. And I'm telling you, it is very strong in the connection you develop with Him. So, even if it's 1. So, in terms of implementing this in the daily, weekly, progressing Deen and Dunya way, I find that either the beginning or the end of a productive day, so in terms of your work, your good habits, your Deen and Dunya and stuff like that, those type of things, either straight after Fajr or just before you start resting at like the end of the day, right? What you're gonna do is basically recite as much as you can. Reciting is something that does change a lot, right, in terms of the way that I connect with Allah Azza wa Jalla, and even the state of my heart and the feeling there. So recite as much as you can. I personally do Surah Rahman because that's the one that I'm still practicing reading Arabic. So whatever you're comfortable reading, like in terms of actually reciting Arabic, then go for it, right? But in terms of reading to understand or to gain a reminder or advices from the Quran, that's what I mean. You read about, like, you can go 25 even, like if you're feeling really undisciplined, 25, you can commit that when you get waswasa. 25 to 50, 100, you'll probably go more than 25 naturally, but you can commit to that. And that will be a way for you to connect to Allah Azza wa Jal in terms of the state of your heart, and take heed of the Quran, the lessons, and keep getting yourself out of the state of ghafla and fitra, and remembering the akhirah, remembering what you're here to do. And it's kind of a reminder of this. So I'm telling you, this is literally the habit that shaitan hates the most, other than salah and the fara'id of Islam. Like the Quran is something that, like, he will allow you to seek 20 hours of knowledge. He will allow you to do productivity like you've never seen before. But the Quran, it will feel like the most annoying, hard habit to do, because he just doesn't want you to connect to Allah. That shows how important it actually is. So let's fight his waswasa and get into this. Next is journaling. Now, I rejected it for a long time because I didn't know how it worked. Like, I used to journal like just a diary entry, and I would always feel very forced. I didn't like the discipline of like having journaling on my daily routine. But ever since I changed the way that I do it and the way that I approach it, it helped a lot, because I've always been a very visual explainer and very visual learner. You can see my hands, and of course I'm explaining with slides, right? But recently, and every time I journal, I've experienced a lot of khair in my deen and dunya and my happiness. Because it helps me declutter thoughts, it helps me problem solve. Because I stopped approaching it from just a diary entry, like 05, 25, I felt like this. Like, there are moments where we do that, like the diary entry type of things, where you talk to yourself, or you can even talk about deen and dunya and your life and your feelings. You can output, and we'll talk about why we should output just now. But you can do something called morning meetings, right? In the way that you journal, where you kind of problem solve. You go through what you did in the day and what you did wrong, what you did right, and try and problem solve how you solve the wrong, basically. And you can also do something called learning notes, where I expect you guys to actually have your books out or some type of writing tool, because it's better for you to actually take heed of the information if you're actively doing it. So I find that when it's a mess. Like my blue journal over here, I've always tried to discipline my journals, like have different journals for different things. It never worked out. When I just had this one book where I just output everything, and it's a mess, but the point isn't to go and review the book. It's to just get that information out there and clear for me, right? And even business strategy is what I've been doing. So I literally just pull up my journal and do whatever I feel like it. I have no restrictions, just do whatever. And that's what's helped me a lot with journaling, because and I personally do it at the end of the day. I have a specific night routine. I've never had a night routine, but recently when I journal at the end of the day, like a night routine or something, or even in the beginning of the day, for the past about 2 or 3 months now, it's been so good for me in terms of getting the stuff from your brain. You know when you can't sleep because you have all this stuff in your brain, just getting that out and then being able to sleep peacefully is amazing, right? You just get so clear, and I have a proper blueprint now, inshallah. But also, one reason that I really love journaling is that, one of the hardest lessons you have to learn in life is that, man, it's you and Allah Azza wa Jalla, bro. In reality, you're born alone, you live alone, you die alone, right? The more you rely on creation, the more you'll get disappointed, because insan, it's a solo existence. Like, we have people to assist us, and alhamdulillah, you should be nice and caring and loving, and I'm not saying don't talk to anyone, but being at the point where you don't need to rely, you have no one in this dunya to rely upon except for Allah Azza wa Jal, and you have you. Because at the end of the day, that's all you really have, not a sense of control over, but some level of influence. You can influence your relationship with Allah, and you can influence your relationship with you. Everyone else is out of your control. So when you approach people and the dunya from a very unattached point of view, when you're only attached to Allah, because that's the only one you need, you don't get hurt, or you don't get, not exactly hurt, but you don't get disappointed, because people will never fit your expectations. I've said this I think it's a free lesson in the 10x Deen Dunya program, but people are gonna leave you, man. People are gonna disappoint you. So when I've started journaling, I've just found that I don't need people to output. I don't need, and need is not meaning don't do it. It means that you don't ascribe or elevate people in any other way. You only elevate Allah Azza wa Jal and cry to Him. We'll talk about it. The 3 types or the 4 types is like doing a paper journal, like journaling on a paper. Don't do it on a doc. It's not the same. And number 2 is video journaling. So sometimes I'll literally just like talk to the video camera of myself. And a 3rd thing is chatting with brothers. Like sometimes me and other brothers will call and just talk about stuff, whether it's Deen and Dunya related, or even just calling your friends, right? Or number 4 is chat with Allah. You know, and I'm really focusing on number 1, 2, and 4, right? Because that is stuff that you will always be there. Allah Azza wa Jal is always with you. And ultimately, you are always with you, right? So when you work on the relationship with yourself and the relationship with Allah, and you learn to deal with things by yourself, you're just super independent. Like, it's a very powerful position to be in. And something that, you know, I'm adding here is like, I'm really considering, you know, I don't like to use this language, but like going ghost. Not out of, and I think every single time we say these things and we use this language, it's so out of anger, or it's out of malice, or it's out of pain. But going ghost to actually focus on yourself. You know, like this phrase is so thrown around there, but what does it actually mean? Like, I've recently realized there's a lot of things that I had been very much ignoring. And I think we have a set limited amount of energy. And so I'm really focusing on spending a lot of that energy just focusing on me first. Because you can't pour from an empty cup, you know? So I'm really trying to just detach from stuff and really just start building from the ground. First of all, it's the relationship with Allah, then your relationship with yourself, then your relationship with everyone else. If your relationship with Allah and relationship with yourself is broken, you will have no good relationship with anyone. So I've really been wanting, and really this enables me to have this ability to kind of distance from people in a sense, and not out of a malice, not out of pain, not out of fear, out of a real desire to want to work on myself and me and who I am. So this helps with that as well. But okay, next thing is number 3, seeking ilm. So when I got on Deen and Islamic self-improvement, I was like super addicted to watching Islamic reminders, you know, Akhi Ayman, Muhammad Abdullah. I mean, back in the days, there was Mufti Meng and things like that, right? But like over time, when I think like when I got on the Discord server and meeting more brothers back in the day, I got pushed to seek actual knowledge, like actual books, right? And when I started seeking knowledge, there's just something special about sacred knowledge, man. It's just exciting to like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that whoever takes upon a path upon which to obtain knowledge, Allah makes the path to paradise easy for him. We can see how important knowledge actually is. I mean, like, knowledge is something like you can literally hang out with the Sahaba. Like, that's cool thing about history as well. Like, I'm talking very much about the seerah, but like you can hang out with the Sahaba. Let's say, for example, the stories of the Sahaba book. You can quite literally see their mindset. You can see what these heroes of Islam thought and how, like, the story of the date. I wouldn't have known the story about the date of the man who, the Sahaba who got the glad tidings of Jannah. He was eating a date, he dropped his date and ran to the battlefield to die, right? Because the way that they thought is so accessible. Being in the room with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a level of, like, you're touched by his presence. Learning about the hadith, learning about the seerah, you can be in Uhud. Maybe not physically, but you could be there. You could see the experience. You could know what happened in a very in-depth way. I think it's better when you read books, but in the beginning, I'm really focusing on watching durus. I don't want to put any of my thoughts into it. So that's really what I'm doing. And also, you can understand the beauty of the Quraan, understand your Rabb, understand your purpose when you're seeking actual knowledge, tafsir and other things. And also, it's a substitute for philosophy. When I was a kafir, and I think a lot of people struggle with this, falsafa and things like that. I used to be super big, and I think we have this fitra to want to know what the point of being a human is and the best way to act as a human and things like, and morality, right? But I really sat there and thought, barring the fatwa, should I take my morality from kuffar when I could take my morality and the way that I should live from not only the messenger of God, peace be upon him, but from the scholars who their entire life was studying this stuff? Like, not students, but scholars like Ibn al-Qayyim, right? Rahimullah. These type of level. Like, even I find when I make content is so different from kafir self-improvement, because the way I will approach a problem is always based on Quran Sunnah, right? And that's how they approach it. So when you have philosophers who bring khair, all the khair that they bring is already in Islam. You just have to go find it. So it's a really big substitute when you come read books like the gems of certain scholars, right? There's a gems of there's a gems of Ibn al-Qayyim, right? Like, imagine reading philosophy. It's not really falsafa, not ilm al-kalam, right? I don't mean that. I mean actual scholars writing books, right? When you learn from them, based on morality that is always based upon Quran and Sunnah, that is a better substitute, right? That is seeking knowledge. So that desire to seek philosophy that I had as a kafir, it can now be transmuted into what is correct and what is the truth. So next is number 4, in-depth tracking. So in the beginning of kafir self-improvement, when I was a kafir, and may Allah protect us from kufr, I was super into like self-improvement depression. That's basically when like your nafs are still addicted to this instant gratification, and you haven't done enough jihad to subdue them and to work on your discipline in your life or in your deen. And you have this kind of dissonance where you have these goals and desires, and sometimes you have good days, but you always go back into these bad habits, which is why you're watching this video. And what took me out of that in Islamic self-improvement is, of course, adding the deen element, but also adding in-depth tracking in every term. Like when I had my systems dialed in, as you know, Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about, when my systems are not dialed in, I'm not locked in. Because I think James Clear says in Atomic Habits, I remember, that like self-disciplined people are not that disciplined. They just control their environment very well. So your systems are a part of your environment. Number 1, my schedule. Schedules changed my life. And as Muslims, we should be tracking our life. Like the salah is at a prescribed time. That's the point, right? So, and we're not meant to waste time. You know, that's not a liked thing to do. So we should take charge of our time and make sure that we are spending it perfectly correctly as best we can. And to do that, we can use a schedule. And I really don't like broad to-do lists, like I'll talk about, because it's not specific enough. Like I've even gotten to a point where I think I heard a brother make a suggestion in the last video, and I even put it in my life, like Google Calendar notifications, right? And I barred, other notifications for specific times so I can get them. But to that level where like, don't you wish you could control what you want to do? We live in a world where so much of our lives is about consumption and just going on Instagram whenever we feel like it, instead of choosing what you want to do based on what you want, based on like a more higher part of yourself. And that's what a schedule can do. It takes the emotions out of your life. You as using your prefrontal cortex, or at least your higher capabilities, your ruh, wanting to get closer to Allah, wanting to be the caliph and then be a better man, you can make decisions on what you want to do to your day and you follow them. That's it. Like you set a schedule for yourself. Now you with your nafs don't have to annoy it, right? And a habit tracker is something that when I started Islamic self-improvement, I really got into it, and it just opens your eyes to the truth. It also gives a more realistic or like more pressure to the schedule, because when you miss a schedule, when you don't have a habit tracker, there's no consequence. Now having that X marks the spot on your habit is actually negative reinforcement. Like you don't want to get that, so it creates like your psychology to literally work on doing more, and that's just super good. I personally display it publicly. Like I have a little whiteboard with my schedule. I use a whiteboard, you can do docs or whatever, but I like a whiteboard where I can like tick off. I also have a little book with my habit tracker that I tick off. And I also have a specific to-do list book. Like I have 3 different books. Each of them are for different purposes, right? So to-do lists, I like I said, no broad, no like go do your work. Rather have a schedule with certain deep work blocks and certain things you're going to do. But when you have a to-do list, it's task-based. So let's say you have work. What are you going to do in the work? What are you going to do? Okay, I have 8, like right now, literally 8 to 12, I have deep work, right? What am I going to do? In my to-do list that is specific, I have record 2 videos, edit 2 videos, post 2 videos, 2 thumbnails. That's literally what it says. So you see how your deep work now became strenuous, because now you have a time limit and you have what you're going to do in the time limit. So now you don't have any distractions. You know exactly what output you want, and that's what's helped with to-do lists. And also long-term plans. I've been making a 5-year or 10-year plan ever since I was 16 years old or 15 years old. And as much as, I was a kafir back then, like everything changed so much, but there was a genuine concurring theme, and of course Allah will reroute you to what is best, and you will keep changing the plan. But having that plan gives you a sense of direction, and it makes you think about the future. It's like focusing on your future self, your future outcome. Like I'd been making 10-year plans since I was 16, about 26, getting kids and stuff like that, right? So the way that I made decisions and the way that I improved myself and the decisions I took in my life was always to that 5 years or those 10 years. It wasn't about me. So when you flesh out your life in that way, and Allah knows best, ask for his guidance for you to do it better, but make that long-term plan. Like literally write the city you're in, what age you're going to be, and what year it is. So I literally write Johannesburg, right? Then I write the age of mine, which is 19, and then I write 2025. Then you can add another column as to like what you'll be doing, and you can generally get a gist of when you want to get married, when you want to have kids, and then you give yourself a time horizon as to when you're going to complete your goals, right? And be fair, right? A lot of people underestimate what they can do in like 5-10 years, right? Don't spend your life trying to do it in 1 year. Like, you don't need to be like every other Instagram kid getting $50,000 a month in one day, right? Because they sold their souls to do that. We want to build a life that is balanced in the Deen and Dunya, but still gets us where we want to go, and that's what helps with long-term plans. And number 5 is the vault. This is the most important thing. I have been advocating since the beginning of this channel to stop using social media. The third video I ever made that blew up by the will of Allah is delete social media if you're a Muslim, right? Something along these lines. I truly believe beyond it is the worst permissible thing for your Deen and Dunya. The worst halal thing to do is social media. It is a drug on a level that I can't even comprehend. I think humans don't need, it's unnatural, it's disgusting, you don't even like it. People who think that they want to vegetate with social media, like, you need help, we are not going to waste our time like this. Like, the level of madness, like, these guys are making it a drug and they treat you like a rat. So I just get super annoyed with people using social media. There is no good in it. There's your Islamic FIP. There's not good enough. I've said this before myself. I'm telling you, you will get influenced to do haram. You will destroy your deen, your discipline, everything. So I found literally the more I went off social media, the more focused, the more disciplined, and the more happy I became. And of course, my deen became better. Because I'm telling you, you cannot escape haram on social media. Let alone escape things that will lead you to haram on social media. It's not going to happen. So one thing that helped me now, you can see my phone in the background. I've had a vault habit for about 7 or 8 months now, where I basically take my phone, I literally put it in a little box and I put it on top of my cupboard, right? And I've been doing that for 8 months. So now I've finally disassociated, or I've had this level of dissonance with who I used to be and the way I used to interact with my phone. I mean, I used to literally, like my story with TikTok and Instagram, I used to watch. I remember I was on P.S self-improvement. I was like doing right, and like Monday to Friday, I did everything I needed to do, work, study, train, everything. And I remember Saturday came and I just went on my iPad, and I remember, Friday night, right? 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock to 1 a.m. I was watching TikTok. I woke up at 5 a.m., watched TikTok until 7 a.m., went to sleep again, woke up at 9 and watched TikTok until 8 o'clock at night. I even tried to watch YouTube that day when I was watching TikTok. I don't even remember what I watched. I don't even know how 12 hours went by. I remember looking at the screen time of 12 hours because I couldn't even watch YouTube videos anymore. And at that point, I was watching Hamza videos, right? So Hamza videos back then, late 2022, were like the most brain rot videos you could ever find. I couldn't even watch 2 seconds of a Hamza video. That's how brain rotted I was. That is the damage of social media. And I would always have this problem with, like, I went from YouTube to TikTok to Instagram Reels to TikTok to Instagram Reels. And until I got rid of TikTok and Instagram, I am telling you, it changed my life. Wallahi, you have to get rid of it. There is no khair in it. There is no good in it. Get rid of it, please. I'm genuinely telling you. For your deen and dunya, this is going to 50, 100 billion exit, right? And okay, I also have a specific class in the free course, 10x Deen and Dunya, that literally gives you my system to unlock this. But like, the vault habit is to delete your social media off your phone, right? I don't care if you delete and re-download it, just keep deleting it all the time. Number 2, undistracted blocker. That should be in the description of this video, or maybe the video where it says how to have halal fun, or maybe the video where it says fun grind in the thumbnail. Basically like how to have a day so fun that you don't have to scroll. I think there's one of the videos there, but I'll try and put it here. But you can search on Google undistracted, right? Chrome blocker, and you should come up. It's a Chrome web thingy. And that basically allows you to block YouTube. It allows you to, like, in terms of certain aspects you shouldn't have, like thumbnails and recommended and things like that. And you can block Instagram, block TikTok. You can get an app called Blocksite, or you can, but it didn't work so much for me. On iStore, I think it should be on Play Store as well. But delete it. Get the thing as far away from you as possible. And then what you're going to do is literally you're going to get a physical box. So we've changed our digital environment in our computer. We've changed it on our phones. You're going to get a physical box, and you're going to put in your phone in the box at nighttime. And you're going to leave it on the top shelf far away from you inside a cupboard. You cannot see it. Even better is you could get it locked with a padlock. That would be crazy. That would be good. In a good way. It's called a vault for a reason, right? Literally, look, save yourself. So what you're going to do is you're going to have a check-in time after work, or after the day, even better. If you have like a whole day, start with a work block or study block. After you're done working and studying for the day, you can go open your phone. And even better if you have your whole productive day or Islamic self-improvement day, and then when you have like, maybe it's like 6, 7 at night, you open your phone and you can check. Now, I understand the need to have your mom or someone's notifications. So here's what I'll say. Look, it is difficult to balance that. What will help you is focus mode. So I purposely have a focus mode that is for deep work and a focus mode for every single day. So throughout the day, the only notification will go off that is my mother, right? And so my vault would obviously start ringing, right? If my mother really needed me, she would call me or message me and I would hear it. So that is the only thing that matters. That, okay, I understand. But other than that, that's how you use the vault. After 8 months, the more I did it, the more I encoded the habit of the vault and the more my nafs went back to normal. So I literally have my phone right here. It's 9 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday. I'm on a gap year. I haven't touched it. That's the relationship I want you to have with your phone. It's right. Like, look, I can reach for it. But I have work to do and I don't want to do anything bad on that. I use it for Google Calendar now. Like my Google Calendar notifications will come up. And I want you to have that level of, but it takes months. It takes months to get rid of social media from your life. That deleting and re-downloading, that putting it in the vault, getting rid of this drug so that now you can use it with moderate use. I deleted pretty much all my apps, right? I only have I have WhatsApp out of my home screen. The only thing on my home screen is I think it's clock, it's Spotify for nasheeds and Quraan, and it's Google Calendar. That's it. So I'm telling you that if you are struggling with focus, discipline, or happiness, this habit will change your life. Before you go, I just want to say, if you're ready, you can join the Sultan School, where we have our community of brothers, our information products like the Annihilate Haram Habits program to significantly decrease haram habits in 90 days. And inshallah, if you want to watch the free videos and free content for as much as you want until you trust me, inshallah, I would love to have you in the community. And I'm grateful that you joined the Sultanate in the YouTube. And yeah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.